students, this presentation is on calorimetry, which comes in the chapter Energy Metabolism. Before going to the topic, let me have a recap of the topics that we covered in the classroom. So we had already discussed the introduction to nutrition, that is terminologies like nutrition, nutrients, food, diet, food groups. Then we had discussed about the balanced diet, definition and its characteristic features. Then proximate analysis of food, wherein we had discussed about the moisture content, mineral content, fiber, lipids by Soxhlet's apparatus, proteins by Micro-Jaldal method, and carbohydrates. We had also discussed about what do you mean by energy content of foods or calorific value, its definition and determination by bomb calorimeter experiment. And we had also discussed about the difference between the bomb calorimeter values and the physiological values. I perceive that we had also discussed about respiration or the respiratory quotient. And for section A, I had started with calorimetry and I had also finished with BMR if I am right. But I would again do calorimetry and BMR PPTs, which would be helpful for B section as well. So let us go into the topic calorimetry. Now what do you mean by calorimetry? It's a branch of science which deals with the energy calculations, whether it could be the amount of energy that comes out from a particular food that is consumed, or it could be the amount of energy that is spent or expended by an individual either when he is working or even when he is at rest. The person would spend some amount of energy. So in total, whatever is the amount of energy that is released either from foodstuff or spent by the individual is calculated under a branch which is called as calorimetry. So there are two types of calorimetry: direct calorimetry and indirect calorimetry. Now what do you mean by direct calorimetry? Here the energy measurements are done by calculating the amount of heat produced directly in the experiment when the nutrients like carbohydrate, proteins, lipids are burnt either in the calorimeter or via respiration. Now what do you mean by this? So here we are going to calculate the amount of heat that is produced directly in the experiment. That is, when you are doing the experiment, you can get to produce heat. And how is this heat generated? By either burning the food in a calorimeter like bomb calorimeter, or it could be in the burning or oxidation of food in the human beings through certain other experiments which we are going to discuss in this PPT, like the Atwater Benedict or Atwater Rosa human respiration calorimeter. So the amount of heat can be measured directly in the experiment because it is liberated during the experiment. That is what is meant by direct calorimetry. Now this heat produced or output can be used to calculate the calorific value of food, or it can be used to calculate BMR of a person, or you can also use it to calculate how much amount of energy the person has spent in a physical activity. Now these three, calorific value of food, BMR and physical activity, so all these three are the common entities when we discuss about direct calorimetry or indirect calorimetry. Now certain examples of direct calorimetry are calorific value of food, wherein we have already discussed using bomb calorimeter, and as I just now mentioned, you can also find out heat output in an experiment using Atwater Rosa human respiration chamber or calorimeter. So this experiment can be used to even find out the BMR of the person or how much amount of energy he spent in a mild physical activity. Now coming on to indirect calorimetry, here the amount of heat produced in the experiment is indirectly calculated, which means to say that you don't get actually the heat output in the experiment, but you will be calculating heat production in terms of the amount of oxygen that is consumed or the amount of carbon dioxide that is expelled out by an individual. So here I would like to mention that there are experiments wherein carbon dioxide expelled is actually stored and measured, and using the RQ formula, this is nothing but our respiration or the respiratory quotient formula, to find out the amount of oxygen that is consumed. And you can also relate the amount of oxygen in terms of liter that corresponds to kilocalories of energy. We have a standard that is which says that 1 liter of oxygen corresponds to around 4.82 kilocalories of energy. So what I meant here is, in indirect calorimetry, we do the experiment wherein oxygen would be supplied and carbon dioxide would be expelled. Now the oxygen could be supplied by a known amount filled in a container, or it could be just the atmospheric oxygen, and carbon dioxide which is expelled, you can trap it and measure the carbon dioxide, and in turn go back to the amount of oxygen consumed using the RQ formula, and then you can relate using this formula, that is 1 liter of oxygen corresponds to 4.82 kilocalories of energy. So these are the ways in which you can ultimately reach to the amount of heat produced in that particular experiment when the person is doing some mild work, or if you want to calculate the amount of energy that is released or heat that is released to maintain the BMR. Fine. So in indirect calorimetry, there are two types again. One is the open circuit and the other one is the closed circuit calorimetry. Now what does this open circuit calorimetry mean? So here, this is where I mentioned you need this RQ value, because the person is allowed to breathe in normal room air, wherein you don't have a control over how much of oxygen is being provided to the person. He is just breathing normally inside a room. But the carbon dioxide that he exhales out when he is doing work or when he is at rest is trapped in a bag or collected, and then using the RQ formula, which says that RQ is equal to volume of carbon dioxide released to the volume of oxygen consumed. So you would be knowing the RQ. We have already listed the RQ for various conditions like RQ of carbohydrates, RQ of protein, RQ of a mixed diet, RQ of diabetics, and all that we have already discussed. So you have two entities in the formula. You will know the RQ and you will know the amount of carbon dioxide that is expelled by the person. So with this you can find out the amount of oxygen that is liberated. And you have this formula, standard formula, 1 liter corresponds to 4.82 kilocalories of energy. Therefore, how much amount of oxygen that you get in your experiment would correspond to how much amount of energy. So that is how we can calculate the amount of heat output. So this is about open circuit. I hope you understood here. So I'll just read it out. In this method, normal air is breathed in and exhaled carbon dioxide is collected and measured. The amount of carbon dioxide produced allows the calculation of oxygen consumed to generate that particular carbon dioxide, which in turn helps you to calculate the amount of heat produced. So out of this heat produced, you can calculate the BMR of the person, or you can also calculate the calorific value of food, or you can also calculate what amount of energy is spent by the person while doing any physical activity. Now certain examples of open circuit include open circuit indirect, because here heat is not produced in the experiment directly, but only volume of carbon dioxide is known, or in some experiments volume of oxygen will be known. Using the calculations, theoretical calculations, you will arrive at the heat production. Therefore it is open circuit indirect. Some of the examples include Douglas bag experiment, Max Planck respirometer, and Kofrani Michaelis respirometer. So coming to closed circuit calorimetry, in this method, the person receives oxygen from a known or a measured source of oxygen rich air. So in open circuit, what had happened? Oxygen was not known. He was just allowed to breathe in normal room. But here in closed circuit, he is not allowed to breathe the normal air, that is the atmospheric air, but the same atmospheric oxygen would be provided in a container or a cylinder from which he has to breathe. And the carbon dioxide and water that are expelled would be removed or absorbed by containers having soda lime and sulfuric acid. Soda lime generally absorbs the carbon dioxide and water is absorbed by sulfuric acid. So the amount of oxygen in the mixture is measured. So here the person is generally allowed to breathe for 6 minutes, and then the amount of heat is calculated by the same formula wherein we have just now seen here. 1 liter of oxygen corresponds to 4.82 kilocalories of energy. So in this experiment, how much ever the person breathes or consumes oxygen in 6 minutes is recorded, and for that you have to find the energy that is going to be put out, or the heat that is going to be put out. So you will be converting the volume of oxygen that is consumed in terms of kilocalories of energy. So this heat production is again can be used to calculate BMR or the heat that is spent by the person during any physical activity. Some of the examples of closed circuit calorimetry include Benedict Roth apparatus. This we'll be studying when we are going to discuss the determination of BMR. And we also have one more, that is Benedict's oxycalorimeter. So let us now discuss the direct calorimetry. And as I showed you in this slide, let me go back. Yeah, direct calorimetry. Can you see the examples? Calorific value of food using bomb calorimeter, and the energy expenditure during physical activity, or it could be also used for calculating BMR using Atwater Rosa human respiration chamber. So both these come under direct calorimetry. So let me discuss about the Atwater Rosa human respiration chamber or calorimeter. So this is again an explanation about the experiment wherein the person is placed in a calorimeter, which is nothing but a small room with insulated walls. The room is actually an airtight copper chamber insulated with wooden walls. He would have a bed, reclining chair, and a table with stool, so that he can stay comfortably for an hour or few days, taking rest or doing any sedentary work like reading or writing. So here, just let me read the following few lines here. It requires the subject to be inside the human calorimeter or the chamber to measure the amount of heat that is produced directly. Here remember, the person himself is placed in the chamber, and therefore it is called human respiration chamber, and it is direct calorimetry because the person generates heat, and that heat is recorded directly. You need not have to record oxygen, the volume of oxygen that is consumed, or you need not have to record or note the volume of carbon dioxide that is expelled out and then calculate the heat output. So here heat output is directly measured in the experiment. So let me show you this setup of the experiment here. You can see that it is a human respiration chamber wherein the person is provided with a table and a stool. There are no bed and the chair, reclining chair that is shown, but in some of the calorimeters those chairs and bed is also provided so that he can rest in the chamber for few hours or even a few 1 or 2 days. So you have so this is the wooden chamber, that is the copper chamber, which is insulated by wooden walls so that heat is not going to escape out of the chamber. Now these are the water pipes that run through the chamber. So you have a water inlet here, and a water outlet here. So you would have a thermometer fixed here which records the water initially before entering the chamber, and also you have a container which collects the water and records the temperature which is coming of the water that comes out of the chamber. Now you have an oxygen cylinder here through which oxygen is provided into the chamber, and there would be an opening for providing food and water to the person. There would be a restroom here, and the carbon dioxide and water that I was talking about, which are expelled during respiration, will be trapped in containers like soda lime, which traps carbon dioxide, and sulfuric acid chamber, which would trap the moisture. So the expelled air would move through these containers. Fine. So after a few hours or days, you need to measure the amount of the difference in the temperature of the water. Fine. And also the amount of water that is passed through the chamber. So these two things are very important, because the formula says that heat output is measured by multiplying the difference in temperature and the volume of water flowing. So that is what has been given here again. Heat output is nothing but difference in temperature and volume of water passing through the chamber. So you had an inlet, you measure the temperature, and you had an outlet of water which is collected, you measure the temperature. When you subtract, you will get the difference value. So that value you have to use here, and the amount of water that has been poured into the pipes for so much of, for such a long time, or for a particular duration of time, the water would be passing. So that volume of water is also to be noted. So when you multiply the difference in temperature and the volume of water, you get to know the heat output. Now this heat output, as I've been telling, you can use it to calculate BMR or even the calorific value of food consumed by the person. Or in this experiment, we are calculating how much of energy is spent by the person while doing sedentary activity like reading and writing. Now you also have a modified version of this experiment called as a metabolic chamber, in which the heat given off by the subject is measured using some electronic goods like thermocouples and heat exchange discs, wherein the water pipes are not involved, and these thermocouples and heat exchange disc would be attached to his skin. So this is about the direct calorimetry using Atwater Rosa human respiration chamber. It's an example of direct calorimetry. In case you are asked to write about direct calorimetry, you have to mention both bomb calorimeter as well as this experiment, Atwater Rosa human respiration chamber experiment. In short, you have to explain both of them, because both of them would liberate heat directly in the experiment. So they come under direct calorimetry. Unless and until specified, you have to mention both of these experiments in brief. If they ask you only about bomb calorimeter, then you have to explain only about the definition of calorific value and the determination using bomb calorimeter. And if they ask you only about human respiration chamber experiment, you have to mention this experiment. Otherwise, if it is a general question, you will have to mention both the experiments in brief. Well, the next PPT would be on BMR determination, its definition and factors affecting BMR, which we are going to discuss in the next PPT. And here I would be talking about an experiment which comes under indirect calorimetry. Thank you.